Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
You really adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Bazinga!
Two in the box!
Ready to go!
We be fast.
They be slow!
Cool.
Feels wisely.
Girl. 50-50. Alright. And setting up the sound effects. Dude, I started setting up at fucking 8:40. And throw this shit. Alright. And we're recording. Welcome to the Mt.Geekmore podcast, your favorite podcast where you come to listen to people argue, debate, and talk through their favorite top four, Mount Rushmores, if you will, of their favorite pop culture subjects. Today's pop culture subject, as you can tell by looking at your listening device, is the best TV theme songs from the 1980s. I am Nary Science. With me, as usual, is David.
Howdy.
And today we have Missy back.
Hi.
And Stephanie.
Hey, what's up?
All right. So that's our mountain is basically 1980s TV show theme songs. The majority of its run has to have happened throughout the 80s. So if it started in the 80s and it ran into the 90s, as long as the majority of its run stayed in the 80s, same thing goes for the 70s and 80s. You get what I'm saying, right? All right. For some reason, whenever we do these decade lists, some people get thrown off and they're like, well, I don't know. There was 1 year where it was in the 90s. So with that said, I want to go around the horn and talk about how we selected our mountain. So from my view, we're going to go ahead and do Missy. How did you come up with your selection?
These are theme songs that I can sing whenever. I mean, that's how much I loved it. And I tried to stay as open-minded as possible and just kind of be objective, but I went with my heart. And these are just songs that they're like good songs. Like if they weren't theme songs, they could have been pop songs, I guess, was my parameter.
All right. Did you have any limitations? Did you say like no, like self-made rules?
No, I made sure that I followed that, the majority of the run being in the 80s and not the 90s, which eliminated a lot of my favorite shows. So I look forward to being in the 90s episode. But yeah, and one of my choices, I am pushing it, but I'm gonna allow it because I love that song that much. So let's fight.
All right.
I like that the rules are self-made. You know, the rules went out, they worked real hard, they did it themselves. They didn't rely on their mommy and daddy rules to give them, they're self-made. It's nice.
They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, man.
Yeah. Just a small $1 million loan. That's all they needed.
That's it. That's all that is.
What did you have
Stephanie.
for dinner, bro?
Tacos?
Lots of dicks. Stephanie, how did you make your selection?
I came to realize while making this mountain that most of what I knew was 90s, like very early 90s or late 80s. So a lot of the stuff I'm not super familiar with a lot of stuff from the 80s that isn't, the target audience wasn't children. So that being said, there is stuff that I watched that's on here. But I had to have known, like I have to know what the show is and have seen, at least a handful of episodes. I'm not going to just pick something because I know it's iconic or whatever.
Okay. David?
Kind of similarly, I went with shows that I know well, shows that kind of mean something to me. There are plenty of shows that have, like Stephanie said, ridiculously iconic theme songs, but the show itself doesn't really mean that much to me. And even though we're ranking the theme songs, I feel like the song has to speak to you. And if the song didn't kind of move me and make me say, okay, well, you know what? I am immediately reminded of my time watching the show instead of, oh, that's the song from the show. Then I kind of ruled that out. So there's a couple of like iconic shows that obviously being born in the late 80s, I wouldn't have watched, and maybe I've caught a couple episodes here and there in syndication, but for the most part, it was kind of like Steph. Cartoons were really my main 80s programming, and so I do have a balance of animated and live action here. So I made it a kind of a choice to say I'm going to go 50-50 split here and do some animated, some live action, and there you go.
All right. I went with shows that I really enjoyed, not just the theme song, but also really enjoyed the show. But the theme song to me is more important than the show in this topic, in this particular case. With that said, I made a limiting situation for me where I said theme songs that had no words. I left out only to give myself a chance of not going crazy over picking this list. So just to give myself a little bit more space, I said, you know what? If it didn't have words, I'm out. So yeah, that's it. That's what I had. All right, let's go on with our number 4s.
With the fourth pick,
Round 4.
I'm in no mood for your wives crack. Let's get it on.
All right, let's start the timer. Missy, what's your number 4, man?
My number 4 is problematic, but I'm allowing myself because I love this theme song so much, and it's the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers theme song.
Okay.
Why is this problematic?
Why is that problematic?
It's problematic
That's because I don't think the majority of its run was in the 80s.
Well, what I was gonna say is that it technically, per IMDb, it had 2 seasons, one of which started in 89 and the second started in 1990. So really it's like half and half, like literally split down the middle. So I just gave myself a pass because while this mountain was a lot of fun, I found it a bit challenging because most of the theme songs that came to mind, their run was mostly in the 90s, not in the 80s. So I'm just gonna let myself have this one. And yeah, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It's like super catchy, and I feel like if Kids Bop, Kids Bop,
apostrophe bop.
Yeah. It's the bop of the kids.
The bop. If the bop of the kids existed in the 80s, I feel like, and like it was independent from the show, I feel like this would have been like a good tune for a car ride. And aside from that, I personally have like an affection for, I mean, aside from it being independently like a great song in my opinion, the visual, like of all the characters coming together, and like and Chip and Dale, like I just remember like they at some point in the opening sequence are like fighting each other, which was always my favorite. Just the nostalgia and like the little warm little flutters that I get in my heart just get me going. So yeah, I allowed myself that one, and it's Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. That's my number 4.
Yeah, I just looked it up. If you want to split hairs, there are technically more months in 1990 than there were in 89, but I don't care. I think if it's 89 and 90, I'd say, at least for me, it's valid.
Right. Yeah. I wasn't gonna split hairs. Neri, were you gonna split hairs?
No, I just found it weird that he brought up, like he looked it up himself and then brought up the hairs that he didn't want to split. I don't understand that one. It's like, just if you want to split hairs, here's a technicality that I found, but I don't want to use that technicality.
Listen,
then why even bring it up?
There are 4 of us here, but for transparency for the listener, All right, let
And the
them
viewer,
decide.
because we are now on
And the
YouTube,
viewer,
and you
right?
can see the video on YouTube.
They can decide whether Missy's pick is bullshit or not. I don't think it is, and I think it's a great pick.
You just wanted to put it out there that in case
I
somebody
just wanted to put the idea out there
Right.
that, hey, it is possible you can see this as bullshit, and
Right.
if you do, I think maybe you're being a little strong, but I think it's a great
But
pick.
that's not your case, of course.
No, not my case.
Yeah. Well, my 5 minutes are up, so that's that.
Thanks, Mr. Mosby. All right, Stephanie, what is your number 4?
Okay, so my number 4, if you guys want to challenge it, I totally understand it. I'm ready to, I have a backup to switch it out. My number 4 is going to be Reading Rainbow. The reason I say if you guys want to challenge it, I totally understand, is because like I know that like it started in 83, but it didn't end until 2006. So if you guys want me to switch it, I will. Okay, that's fine.
It's the Simpson rule. It's the same thing. The Simpsons.
Okay, no, that's I was prepared for that.
Yeah,
that's fine. I was prepared for that.
I'm explaining the fact. The reason why is because it's like the Simpsons rule that we've had for anytime we do any of these decade shows. The Simpsons has gone for so long that it doesn't fall underneath any one particular decade. So that's the problem. That same thing goes for Reading Rainbow, in this case. So, right.
Well, good choice.
Number 4.
So my number 4 then is.
I love it.
My number 4 then is going to be Care Bears.
Okay.
I was very small when that started, but my nursery was Care Bears. Like that's how old this show is. It's one of my earliest memories is being very little and watching the Care Bears, and I just remember the theme of like the Care Bears countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's just one of my earliest memories of watching television is the Care Bears, and I love the show anyway, and the theme song is super catchy, and I just remember myself like singing it all the time. So that's my number 4.
Okay. Did you said your nursery was of Care Bears?
Yeah, like my baby room was Care Bears. My mom like made my baby room Care Bears.
Did your face light up whenever you saw the Care Bears when you were 3 months old?
I mean, I don't know when I was that little what my face looked like.
I was mocking your husband. It's fine.
Why does his face light up?
Because when your son was 3 months old, he said, whenever my son watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, his face lights up when he sees Mickey. I was like, it's 3 months old, dude. He's a log. He's a cute log, but it's a fucking log. He's just a log. I don't know. Like, but I couldn't say anything because we had just become friends then, and I didn't want to be that guy to be like, yeah, your son's a log. But I was like, it's a cute log. It's an adorable log, but his face is lighting up because of the glow of the TV. It has nothing to do with fucking Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, but you know what? When Homeboy went to Disney World for the first time, he definitely recognized Mickey Mouse.
I bet you it was longer than 3 months. I bet you he was older than 3 months, though.
Yeah, but only because he'd been watching since 3 months.
Right. All right, so Care Bears. I don't remember the theme song. I mean, I remember the show vividly. I don't remember the theme song per se, Your Honor. Like when Missy said Chippendales, immediately I was like, Chippendale, I know exactly how it goes.
I know it's not the most popular pick, but it's for me, it's what I remember.
It's a Care Bears bouncing here and there and everywhere.
No,
that's Gummy Bears.
I know. That's I'm doing a thing.
All right, well, watch your mouth, sir. Not all bears are the same. Bears' lives matter. Dave, what do you got for your number 4?
All right, so my number 4, I'm gonna go with Perfect Strangers.
Table.
All right.
That was such a good show.
Yes, it was.
I tried to watch it recently again. Like I used to watch it in its original run, and I lost like within the first season. I was like, it doesn't hold up to me.
Really?
I love that show.
I haven't seen it in forever.
I love that show as a kid, man. It was fantastic. I remember talking about
Steph Table.
Yeah. Perfect Strangers. All right. My number 4 is perhaps the dopest of theme songs on my list. And I'll talk about why it's only my number 4 in a minute. My number 4 is the Knight Rider theme song.
Oh, that is a really cool song.
That's such a good song.
I love that song. I remember I was playing it today. Like I was just going through a YouTube wormhole of all the theme songs, and I wasn't gonna pick it. And I was like, nah, it's kind of a hacky pick, and then blah blah blah. And plus, it doesn't really have lyrics. It has words, but it doesn't really have lyrics.
Well,
So
it's
that was
narration. It's narration,
Right,
so that's
correct.
different from lyrics.
Correct. That's what I said. It's not lyrics. It has words. We're saying the same thing. But
I'm supporting what you're saying. What the fuck?
I'm saying what we're saying. I'm saying we're saying the
You
same
guys are
thing. That's what
literally
I
saying
said.
the same thing.
I thought you said I'm all right, Spider. So, I was gonna give myself an out and say, oh shit, the Heat one. All right, I was gonna give myself an out and say that this one doesn't have words, it doesn't have lyrics, so I don't want to pick it. And then I made the mistake of going to YouTube and playing it, and I was like, man, fuck that. I was like, immediately, I was like, this is the shit, and it would probably be my number one if it wasn't for the fact that it doesn't actually have lyrics. But again, because of the narration of the words, I was like, I don't give a fuck, dude. That beat is so good. I'm like, that's it. So I put it on my list. So it's my number 4 is Night Rider. Night
Nice.
Rider.
Who is it that covered that track? I forget.
Timberland.
Timbaland.
And is it Magoo? Yeah, Timberland and Magoo.
That's a great rapper's name.
It is. All right, here we go. So our number 4 is, just to recap, is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Care Bears, Perfect Strangers, and Knight Rider. And for those of you listening, that was not a hard edit. That was actually me live going, oh, fuck, I got to remember to go back and do the recap. So, because I was like, all right, let's go back onto our number 4 is to recap. And it was live. If you go to our YouTube channel, to the Mt.Geekmore YouTube channel, you can see the video and you see me spazzing out. Here we go.
Round 3.
3 is a magic number. Yes, it is.
All right, Missy, hit me with your number 3, man.
My number 3 is A Different World. And yes, Aretha Franklin. So already I'm winning.
Is it really?
In my
Is it
choice.
Aretha Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Man, I had no idea that was Aretha Franklin. Fuck, it tracks. Makes logical sense.
Didn't?
Man.
You really
that
didn't
song
know?
is great. I legit didn't know it was her. I know the song. I sang it at the moment. I didn't even hear that song today. That's how that song is stuck in my head. The moment you said A Different World, in a different world.
Because it's catchy,
Where
right?
it come from? Yeah, I love that song, but I didn't know it was Aretha. I mean, again, it tracks. The moment you said it, I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck, I believe you. I believe you.
So the interesting thing about this theme song is that she did. So the first season was one version of the theme song, and then seasons 2 through 5 for the rest of the run was the one that is the most popular, the one that you just started singing. But she sang both of them. And now what I remember as a child is that I mean, I saw most of the show like on reruns because I was like 4 when it started airing. But I remember that when I started liking the theme song, the lines that always caught on to me, that always were like a little like pep talk to my rerun loving UPN watching little heart, is that there's a line that says, here's a chance to make it if we focus on our goals. And I was like, that's right. Well, I can't get an A on this math test. I didn't, but I thought I could, and that's what counts. So yeah, it's like a very simple, straightforward. I think it has 2, 4, 6, 7. It has about like 15 lines, and that's it. Very like 30 seconds. The other half of the coin, I think, which is gonna be a running theme, I'm realizing as I'm speaking about my picks, is that the opening sequence had a lot to do with the fact that the theme song was a favorite. Because I feel like in a show, the song obviously is important, but the sequence is also like has to catch your attention, I think, to really work together, just from what I think. And so yeah, the sequence for season 1 is great because a lot of the season 1 has Lisa Bonet, and and that whole storyline of her being in college, and that that they had a couple of crossover episodes with the Cosbys, not the dad, just the mom. And so, and then the second season, the sequence has a completely different feel, because it's this thing where you follow each character, like it's what's that shit called, the relay race, but not a race, just a sequence, and you follow each character.
Did you ever see the ESPN Sports Center a couple of years ago? They did Sports Center had a show. It was the 6 at 6 or something like that, and they did a remake of that, complete like shot by shot remake. Oh, and there was two hosts. It was Jamel Hill, and I forget the dude's name right now. It's slipping my mind. And I know the moment there's people watching, listening, going like, "How the fuck do you forget?" Michael. Oh fuck, I forget his name. Anyway, so they did a shot by shot remake, and they literally shot the fucking thing. They shot the whole intro and the whole thing, like against the wall, like, and then they got some of the actors from the show to be on it too. It's fantastic.
That's
and
awesome.
They kept using it, and they were making fun of themselves, and they're like, dude, we paid so much money for this intro, we have to keep using it. And they just kept rolling it, and they kept rolling it. But if you ever look it up at Sports Center's Different World, whatever, I don't know what I'm sure it's
I am gonna look it up when we're not recording. So yeah, you can't go wrong. I think it's the trifecta for number 3 is that you have Aretha singing, and she could sing, like, for the kids who don't know, phone books, and it'd be fine because that's how great she was. It's the sequence, and also the twofold, the way that they played out the sequence as the show progressed. They would change it up. The song remained the same the entire run, but they would change it up, and it was always super catchy, super captivating, and I just remember like really enjoying it. So
I love it, man.
3.
I think it's a great pick. Fantastic. It's a different world. All right, Stephanie, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Charles in Charge.
Nice.
Table.
He is in charge of. Oh, never mind.
Table.
She's in charge of the table right now.
Yeah, apparently.
Table. All right, Dave, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is one of my animated picks, and it is Transformers. The Transformers.
They're more than meets the eye.
Yeah, they absolutely are. They're robots in disguise. That is a song that, to me, like, it didn't sound like anything that was on TV at the time. Like, it was so mechanical sounding. Like, you got the sense that these were robots making the music, because you heard all of these like mechanical voices, and it wasn't like, it was obviously run through a whole bunch of like synthesizer filters and stuff like that, but like amongst the slew of 80s songs, like 80s theme songs for these TV shows, there's all sorts of like synth heavy, synth pop stuff in there. Transformers sounds very different. There's a horn section. There's like, it's very natural sounding, except for the lyrics that are going on. So it's a very different sounding kind of theme, which catches you off guard as a kid. The first time you watch, you're like, holy shit, what is this? And then obviously the images that are going along with it as you're watching these credits with, these gigantic robots fighting each other. It has obviously left such a lasting impact on me. Now at 33 years old, I'm still watching the original Transformers TV show. And it's a song that the lyrics will never be forgotten. You'll never say, oh, what was the words there? Like, everyone knows Transformers, more than meets the eye, robots in disguise. Everyone will remember that. Grandmother.
That's all I know. That's all I know. Is there more to that?
Yeah. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Wow, that, I mean,
yeah, but again, this is how often I watch the show, and I caught it on reruns, because the original run of the show was from like 84 to like 87. I was born in 87, so I caught it on reruns as like the second generation stuff was running, like the Beast Wars stuff. this would air before Beast Wars, and that's when I would catch it. But the song to me was so much better than the one that they had on the second Transformers show. So yeah, I mean, my love for Transformers will never go away. The music is a part of that, and Transformers.
Transformers. I honestly thought you were gonna go with. There's two animated shows in the '80s, and I was like, he's gonna go with these two. And now that I didn't think of Transformers, I just thought that the other two were better.
I got to be honest. It was really tough not making this an all animated mountain. I had to choose to put live action. So if I would have put more animated shows on here, whichever ones you're thinking about would have made it.
All right. My number 3 is Growing Pains.
Table.
Yeah, I was gonna say what? I was waiting. I was like, no, I don't know if you guys heard me. I said Growing Pains. I was like, what the fuck is happening? There's no way I was gonna be the fucking only one. But all right, we're moving on. All right. So our number 3s were A Different World, Charles in Charge, Transformers, and Growing Pains.
Round 2.
Dose, the sequel to Uno.
All right. So, what are your number 2s, Missy?
Growing Pains.
All right. Alrighty. Growing Pains.
Here's
All right,
what I love
all right, talk
about this theme song is that of what I was allowed to include, that for a family show, like, I don't know, again, this song, if it wasn't a theme song and it was just a regular single, I feel like it would have done really well for itself in radio, for those that are old enough to remember what radio was. It's catchy, it's heartwarming, it's like, it's got the thing.
Growing pains, growing here and there and everywhere.
No, that was the one that was on the other channel, not the channel I was watching. As long as we have
Growing
each other.
Pains, humans in disguise.
And then just repeat it over and over again. Yeah, Neri, you're number 3. Why?
I'm a huge fan of this show. Talk about taking me back to. I heard the song today on YouTube, and it took me back to me watching the show. Not just the show, at the time in my life when I would watch a show, and it was a family affair. Like my sister, that was the first time I ever that was my first encounter with fandom. Was my sister with Kirk Cameron. She had this obsession with Kirk Cameron. I remember she had the poster above her on her bed, which by the way was a big deal for my parents to allow her to put posters up on the wall. Not because it's a boy and any crazy shit like that. It's because you're damaging the wall by fucking stapling the wall.
I wasn't allowed to have posters up on my walls either, for that same reason.
And my sister at that point had to be like 15 years old, and that's when she was like, I gotta be looking. And I remember the poster. I remember it was him wearing a brown leather jacket with fucking skates, with ice skates over his shoulder. They were tied together and they were over his fucking.
Oh, that's the same one I had over my bed.
Exactly. Well, you had it like on the ceiling. It's
yes.
Different. My sister just had it regular on her wall.
Okay.
But it was that's my first encounter with fandom, and it was a family. I love that show. Unironically, I watch that show now. Like it's just really fucking great. Alan Thicke, that was my introduction to Alan Thicke. I didn't know how great Alan Thicke was. Everything I saw him after that was always
Wasn't that everybody's introduction to Alan Thicke?
Well, no? He was like 40 at that time. I'm pretty sure he had a career before that.
In Canada, does that really count?
Do not speak ill of Alan Thicke, madam.
Why?
Because he was friends with Robin Sparkle. So I mean,
wait, did you know that Alan Thicke was dead?
Alan Thicke was dead.
Yeah. We say he's passed. Anyway, that was my introduction to Alan Thicke. Everything I saw him after that was like, hey, that's the dad from Growing Pains. it took me a few years to learn his fucking name. So I'm like, that's the dad from Growing Pains. Was the way I was counted, but I love that song. The intro on something else that you talked about before and about a different world. The collage of
the pictures and the characters
throughout the
and
years.
how
But it wasn't the
evolved.
characters; it was their actual like baby pictures. Like it was their actual pictures. Like it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna stage these shots as if you guys grew up together. It's like no, let's give me. I don't think. Give me your pictures from 1927. Like let's fucking see those photos.
I don't think
But I
he's
thought
that
it was
old,
fantastic.
actually. Well, the other good thing that opening sequence gave us was our first introduction to a very young Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
Who was a dreamboat then
Yeah.
and a dreamboat now.
But it's so funny because I remember watching it. I was a fan of the show before that. So I remember watching it. By the time Leo got there, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I was not, I was a fan of the show. So I was like, you're disrupting something that I fucking know and love. Like, why should I like you right now?
Oh, I had a different experience.
Yeah, I know. But your experience was hormonal. My experience, my reaction.
Excuse me, it was emotional. It was not hormonal. It was emotional.
Okay, sure.
I'm not taking the bait.
You literally just said he was delicious then and he's delicious now.
Never said delicious.
Hormonal?
I did not say delicious. I said dreamboat. He was a dreamboat then,
right.
and he's a dreamboat now.
All right. Maybe I'm projecting.
I think you might be a little bit.
I'm not. I didn't say that. I didn't. I wasn't trying to be. I wasn't trying to be. What's that word I'm looking for? Facetious. I was being honest. I think I may have been. All right. So.
This got very weird.
With that said, Growing Pains is my number 3. It is Missy's number 2. Stephanie, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Perfect Strangers.
Oh, great. We can talk about this now.
There you go.
Do I go? Do you go?
You had it high.
Oh, okay. There are very few instances where I can kind of actually talk about things that I did with, and I know this is going to sound really shitty, but things that I did with my mom, specifically when it comes to TV. But this is one of them. I remember watching this with my mom, this was like in that first round of TGIF when it first started. And I remember watching this with my mom back in the day. And I vividly remember the last episode where the guy's wife gives birth on the hot air balloon. So you're muted, babe.
I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
Yeah. We looked it up right before this and right before we started recording. And I was like, I remember the hot air balloon episode. And it turns out that it's the last one. I didn't know that before an hour ago. But yeah.
That is a birthing plan gone wrong.
It's super. And the song is super catchy. And that show was just really funny. So
there was a lot of shows in the 90s and 80s that had hot air balloons. I thought hot air balloons were going to be a bigger part of my life.
They did a thing on Full House with hot air balloons also.
Yeah, that was the wedding. Jesse's
You're right.
wedding
It was yes, that's right. That's right. It was Jesse and Becky's wedding. Yeah, hot air balloons and quicksand. We were
Family Matters had a hot air balloon episode too, where he was like, "Oh, if it's 1 to go up, then it must be 2 to go down." And then
right, I remember that.
Him and Carl. I'm telling you, I thought hot air balloons were going to be a bigger part of my life growing up. I was like, oh shit, it's only a matter of time. No, not once. I looked it up when I wanted to propose to Vanessa. I was like, oh, maybe I do a hot air balloon, and then I looked it up. And the first thing when you're fat you do is you look up a weight limit. And you go, oh, I don't know about that. It's not even super expensive. It's not even crazy expensive, to be honest with you. It's cheaper than bungee jumping. But the problem
but why would you bungee jump and end up like Hillary's fiance on Fresh Prince?
Exactly. Another thing that I thought was going to be a bigger part of my life.
Bungee jumping or Fresh Prince?
But yeah, hot air balloons, man. It's a thing. It's a thing. So go ahead, talk about. I'm sorry, you brought up hot air balloons, and I just
we went on a hot air balloon tangent.
Yeah.
Babe, go.
You were talking about the show.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I talked about it. You can talk about it.
Bulky's one of those characters that I will always
remember. Like
It's coming out low. Why is it coming out?
Because I think he has an adjustable volume thing on his.
Is this better?
Not really.
No, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did here.
You broke it.
Is this better?
What did you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
better.
I don't know. I just changed where the mic is coming from. So yeah, Balky's one of those characters that I will always remember. He's one of my earliest TV memories, actually, and I so associate that song with the TV show. Like, it's not one of those songs where I kind of say, oh, okay, well, yeah, that song is from that show, and that's where the association ends. Like, I hear that song and immediately am transported to sitting on my parents' lap while they're watching the show. So
And
it's
this was last week.
right. It's really nice when you're like pint sized, because you fit everywhere. So yeah, it's just it's a song that is still catchy. You listen to it and it gets stuck in your head, and perfect strangers here and there and perfect where. So yeah, just it won't it's an earworm. It's great.
I don't remember the song itself. I do remember loving the show as a kid growing up, and I remember for a long time, I would even say it would be a running thing with me where I would say, "Get out of the city, cousin Larry." For a long time. I mean, I would say it in context. When somebody would say something crazy, instead of saying "Get the fuck out," I'd be like, "Get out of the city, cousin Larry." And then people would look at me like I'm like, "Where the fuck? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You had to. Your childhood wasn't good." So I loved the show growing up. Yeah.
Great. Now Facebook is gonna flag us.
Yeah, I know. So you know what? You want to know something funny? Claire, what's his name? Aiken.
Clay Aiken.
For his original audition for American Idol, he sang that song, and everybody thought that it was an original song, and he didn't, like, later on years.
I don't
later,
remember this.
But you would remember it because it wasn't televised. It was his original.
Oh, it wasn't like the judge audition. It
wasn't
got
a
it.
judge audition. It was the original audition.
Got it.
And so he said that, and then I heard him on an interview years later, and they were like, "Oh, what song did you sing?" And he was like, "Yeah, I sang the song." So he sang it live, like during the interview, and they're like, "That's beautiful." And he's like, "Yeah, it's the theme song to Perfect Strangers."
It's a great song. Standing tall. Something Dave will never do.
Right.
Where did you go?
I went. I had to get a text message. I know it's completely unprofessional, but I have
my God,
no other
how
choice.
embarrassing.
Well, I just want to. I want to let you know that for this act of unprofessionalism, this is the last episode I'm doing.
It worked, Nary.
Thank God.
Who knew that's all you had to do to get rid of me?
Jesus. Yeah, sorry about that, man. It's a whole thing going on. This is what happens, man. So yeah, Perfect Strangers. I wish the show. Maybe I should get through the first season, but the first season it was a tough watch. Recently, like a year ago, it was a tough watch for me. But
Do a lot of shows like have a great first season?
Yeah, no, a lot of shows do have a great. The first episode is always like, look, man, it's gonna be a crapshoot. It may be
hire us.
But usually it doesn't take a whole season, like, to get, like, even like The Office. You could talk shit about The Office's first season, but The Office's first season was 7 episodes, so it wasn't like they went through 22 fucking bad episodes,
yeah,
or even 18 bad episodes. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know how many I got through, but I watched maybe 5 or 6, maybe, or something like that, of like Perfect Strangers, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it. The nostalgia was stronger than things. But with that said, not shitting on the show, because I love the show growing up. So all right, Dave, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is the only one on my list that has no lyrics but it is also the very first one that came to mind when we said it is going to be exclusively 80s, and that's the A-Team. This is
That
this.
one didn't make my list because it doesn't have words.
I thought it was going to make your list. I was like, oh, I gotta put the A-Team. I was like, oh damn, Neri's probably also gonna have the A-Team. But the A-Team is one of those songs like I will just out of nowhere start whistling it and not even realize that I'm doing it. And when that happens, it will not leave my mind until I have played it on my Apple Music or whatever it is. It is such an infectious song, and like it manages to be like somewhat military. Obviously you've got that that marching drum down to the. But then once that like the horns come in, like it's so like upbeat and vibrant, and like it still sounds like pseudo military, but there's this like adventure aspect to it, and it's also like lighthearted and upbeat. Like you get the sense that it's not really a show that's going to take itself seriously. And then when like the rock and roll part comes in, you're like, oh, okay, so the show's going to be badass too. Like everything about the show is right there in that song. And it also happens to be a song with an amazing hook without a single word. It's a feat of TV music scoring, and I absolutely love it. I had a playlist of 80s TV the theme songs, and that one came on, and Link was like, "Hey, Dad, that kind of sounds like the Indiana Jones one," and I'm like, in like the feel of it, yeah, it kind of does, and maybe that's kind of what they were going for, that sort of like adventure feel, and I think that they kind of pulled that off if that's what they were going for, but yeah, man, the A-Team, I love the show. The show still holds up. I think I watched kind of maybe half of the first season just maybe a year ago, and it was still fun to watch, and the theme song just still sticks in your head.
That's the reason, I'll be honest, that's the reason why I didn't pick the song, aside from the fact that it has no lyrics, and I made that rule for myself. I don't really recall watching the show. I remember watching it as a kid. I would watch, like, oh, there's Mr. T, and not really pay attention to plot or story. I didn't really care. There's one scene that sticks out to me, and it was when half the group was kidnapped, was being held hostage at a pizza parlor, and then they delivered pizza to the other half, and they spelled help and anchovies. That was it. Like that, I don't know what happened at the end of that. I don't know. Like, hey, hold on, we didn't order anchovies. Like, put that slice back, and then they fucking, Murdoch did his thing, whatever the fuck. But that's my limitation to A-Team is the theme song and Mr. T. Like that's all I gave a fuck about as a kid. Is like, just show me more Mr. T.
Yeah, I mean that's really what most people cared about. I mean, looking back on it now, like I've become a fan of Dwight Schultz, who what's the name of his character?
His name is Dwight Schrute.
He's a really, I think, underappreciated character actor, because he plays the crazy dude well, and then on Star Trek: The Next Generation he played like a really understated dude really well. And the plots themselves are, you can discard them. It doesn't really matter. It's always just a way for the A-Team to have fun and blow shit up, and never really kill anyone along the way.
At all.
They kind of just knock people out. That's all they ever do. They just knock them out. Explosions, bullets.
They're the Empire of Earth. They're like, we're not gonna shoot it. We have fucking a lot of bullets flying around, but that shit ain't gonna hit nobody.
Nope.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. All right. So we have Growing Pains, Perfect Strangers, A-Team. I love the movie, by the way. And my number. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I like the movie too.
I really, really love that movie. I was hoping for sequels and shit, and it just didn't happen. My number two, it didn't make enough. My number 2 is Different Strokes. Because Different Strokes will rule the world. Different Strokes.
That's a good one.
I love this show. I love this song. This was one of the first sitcoms that I remember, along with Growing Pains, but with Different Strokes. I remember watching it week to week and like following storylines. And shit got really fucking weird when Dudley went to the bicycle shop. I'll tell you that much. And I remember as a kid watching this, going like, "What the there should probably be an adult here to fucking walk me through this and like tell me what's happening and like warn me of the dangers of there should probably be an adult. No, nobody. We're just gonna let. All right, cool. But I really I love this show. I love this the theme song. I made the comment to Missy earlier today about the show itself, about how he was an awful father. Because two of his kids, one of his kids died of a drug overdose. The other one was in and out of rehab at all times. And then the other one died when he fell and hit himself on the table. And I thought that was way funnier than apparently it is, because Missy did not laugh at all. Missy was like, "Why the fuck would you even
She's
say
laughing
that?"
now.
I'm like, "It's a joke."
I'm laughing
She's
because
laughing
he's
at my pain.
Yeah, I'm laughing at his pain. I'm not laughing because it's funny. Because when he was saying it, he's like, "No, nothing," and I'm like, "No, nothing. Like that's not funny." Good times. Good times.
Good times. Good times. All right. So, bam, bam, bam. All right. Now I got the
See,
song
it's
stuck in my
gonna
head.
stick in your head, man.
It's been there. I heard it earlier today. All right, and so that's this. Like there's an apostrophe in a weird spot with the Different Strokes. All right. So our number 2s were Growing Pains, Perfect Strangers, 18, and Different Strokes to rule the world. Different Strokes. All right. Let's go. Honorable mentions. We got honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. All right. Let me pull them up. All right.
Did you post on Geekmore or just your page, Neri?
No,
just on my page. Just on his page. All right.
Okay.
So we've got David A. Smith says, off the top of my head, Growing Pains, Cheers, Dallas, Magnum PI. John Doe, if that's his real name, says Cheers because no list is valid without this one. Miami Vice, Knight Rider, and Dukes of Hazzard. Swarley says Cheers, Golden Girls, The Greatest American Hero. It had the
70s?
I think it had the majority of its run in the 80s. Actually,
okay.
I think it started in like 77 or 78, and then went into the 80s.
Okay.
The Greatest American Hero and Charles in Charge. Ish from the Better Let Me Tell You podcast says Perfect Strangers, Who's the Boss, DuckTales, and Growing Pains. Ryan Match says Silver Spoons, which is a show I didn't even know existed until today.
What?
Yep. Never
I
even
never
heard of
watched
it.
it. I had heard of it, but I've never seen an episode of it.
Never
Alfonso
even heard of
Rivera,
it.
bro. Alfonso Rivera.
Never even heard of it until today.
Oh my God, that show was the shit. That show was like Richie Rich, but like live action. And
Richie Rich was also live action?
No, Richie Rich, movie that came out in the 90s. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I'm talking about Richie Rich, the cartoon, which was a 60s and 70s comic strip.
Yeah.
You made him mad?
Yeah, when you're a kid in the 80s.
It's Tuesday. What else is new?
Yeah, when you're a kid in the 80s, that Silver Spoons was the closest thing we could get to Richie Rich. And when you see a kid with fucking all those toys, you're like, oh my God, it was like fucking toy porn. It was awesome.
You also could have just watched a documentary of Dave's life.
That hurt too much. That would have been too much.
Yeah, but
when it's on TV and it's a white kid, you're like, that's unobtainable for a brown kid. It's fine. When you see another brown kid have it, you're like, what the fuck, man?
Anyway,
damn it, Mom.
Ryan Match says Silver Spoons, Great American Hero, Thundercats, and Different Strokes. Yvette LaRosa says Fame, The Facts of Life, The Golden Girls, The Love Boat, and Gem.
I don't remember Fame. All I remember is that
I remember Fame as a movie. I had no idea it was a TV show.
I didn't either.
It was TV. It was a
I had
TV
no
show
idea.
first.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
TV show first, yeah.
I
And
thought
it
it was
had
just a
like a
movie.
very short run, I think. I don't think it did more than a couple seasons.
Because
And,
that song I know really well. But
she decided to move the Love Boat to honorable mention. Jonathan Santana Lara says A-Team, Airwolf, Knight Rider, and Who's the Boss? Dave Lamont says Miami Vice is mandatory. Cheers, Night Court, and A-Team. And
Night Court.
Night Court.
Bro, Night Court are so fucking good. It's on my honorable mentions list, and it didn't make it because it has no lyrics. But that
No,
fucking
Dave
song
loves
is
Night Court.
amazing.
yeah, this is a
it
really
doesn't
good
has
list.
seem
great taste.
anywhere.
This is a really great
Yeah.
list. I also think Miami Vice is mandatory. It didn't make my list, but it is
I
an
don't think the
honorable
Miami
mention.
Vice song is good, to be honest with you,
Man,
bro.
I love it. I love it.
Can I just, first of all, I went through this YouTube wormhole, so I saw the theme song. I was just looked up theme songs to shows, whatever, and the video that I saw for the theme song to Miami Vice, it looked like it was an actual. Again, I've never seen a single episode of Miami Vice. But the what I saw, the introduction, like it showed the character's name.
Yeah, I saw
not
that
the
video.
actor's name.
That's a dude who made a music video to the theme song. I saw that and I'm
That
like,
makes
yeah.
that makes more sense than what we thought.
As soon as I saw Crockett on the thing, I'm like, hold up, what the fuck am I watching? And then I saw that it was because some other dude's name appears at the beginning of the video. I'm like, this is not how the show starts. And sure enough, like you look in the description and it's there in the fine print. Music video to the theme song. Like, nope, you pick the second one. I don't know who that guy paid off. All right. To have K-12 used for the district, but
That's so good, man. I thought it was great. I was like, I'm like, was it in this guy's contracts to have their fucking cat? I'm like, what? What's happening here? I was so lost.
This is
Alright,
a
that makes
new
sense,
level of method acting. That's what that is. Josh Paris
It's
says,
so weird to me that Don Johnson, out of all people,
right,
who's known to be super fucking egotistical, for him to be like, nah, man, I don't want credit. I'm an actor. Give my character the credit. Like, nah. What else? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Josh Paris said only one. He said Incredible Hulk with 4 exclamation points.
The one with your nemesis?
Yes, the very same.
Who's
David
your
Flick.
nemesis?
Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno.
Why do you hate
You don't like
him?
Lou Ferrigno?
He wasn't particularly nice at a convention.
Oh, you mean like actual? I thought you meant that you were just such a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan.
You know,
iron. You took that pumping iron fucking
you know how
to a new level. My God.
Listen.
Shit.
Growing up, I was a fan of Lou Ferrigno because of the Hulk and those really shitty Hercules movies that he did. Like I loved Lou Ferrigno, not on the level of Schwarzenegger, of course, but so when I had an opportunity to meet him, I was really, really excited about it. And this is actually at the same convention where Peter Mayhew snubbed me too. So you
left deflated.
I had a heartbreaking experience.
Have you ever stopped to think that maybe it was you and not them? I'm
Well,
just
here's
kidding.
my thing, Dave.
I'm just kidding.
Here's my thing, Dave. Here's my question: did Lou Ferrigno hear you? Because he.
Oh my God.
Maybe he just didn't hear you.
There's so much happening.
He's deaf,
Do you want to know what happened?
Sure.
So there was there was literally no one in line yet because the convention had just opened, and the celebs were coming out into their thing. So
picture Dave at the fucking at the door of the convention, like Mervin's like open.
Oh my God, Mervin.
So the very first place I go to is to Ferrigno because he had like a very big booth and it was right there towards the front of the the celebrities, and I go to walk up and there's a guy at the front of the line before you get to Ferrigno, and Ferrigno has like just sat down, and there's a guy at the front of the line and he says, hey, what are you going to be purchasing? And I said, oh, I'm not purchasing anything. I just wanted to meet Mr. Ferrigno and like just say hi, let him know that I'm a fan and that I appreciate the work that he's done. And he was like, well, you gotta buy something. And I was like, I gotta buy something to say hi? I'm like, I'm not asking for an autograph on something. And he was like, no, you gotta buy something. I was like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, he's right
So was it?
there.
So did Lou say this, or just did the
That's
guy say this?
so the thing is, these people are hired by the celebrities.
Yeah.
And they have to follow whatever the celebrity says. So this is Lou Ferrigno's rule. You can't speak to him unless you're going to give him money. Essentially, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's a little fuck. And like I've met other celebrities since then, right? And when I started going to these things, like I was like 18, 19 years old. Like I was fucking dirt poor. Like not a cent to my name. Like I was just going to meet these guys and like say hello and maybe pick up, you know, a comic book or two. And like I've met fucking George Takei, who's I think a much bigger name than Lou Ferrigno, and didn't give him a cent. Didn't give him a cent, and just told him that I was a fan, and he was like, "Thank you, I really appreciate that." You know.
Here's the difference. George Takei has money. Always has had money. Lou Ferrigno was at some point struggling and like, I need fucking money real quick. There's a difference.
Well,
but
it rubbed me the wrong way when Ferrigno was sitting there watching me, and I looked at him and I addressed him. I said, "You're really not going to let me look at you?" And he picked up his phone and ignored me. And I was like,
again,
"Oh,
maybe
okay."
maybe that's when he didn't hear you.
No, because as soon as I took my phone out,
It's a fucking joke, man. Of course he heard you. It's a fucking joke. Yes, I know. It's a deaf joke. All right.
So
Missy's telling us that that's our time.
Lou Ferrigno,
We've gone over our time.
All right. Yeah, let's so the other honorable mentions, sorry. David Flick says A-Team, Cheers, Knight Rider, and Night Court. Carlos Navarrete says Super Campeones, Anime. I've never even heard of that. That's really interesting. Okay, Transformers, number 3. Number 2, Golden Girls. Honorable mention to Knight Rider. And number 1, 21 Jump Street. Jemiah Leonard has Hill Street Blues, Cheers, DuckTales, and Transformers. And then I'm assuming this is honorable mentions here. It says A/F. I don't know what that means. Dallas, Knight Rider, Miami Vice, and A Different World.
Right.
I wish Night Court would have been allowed, because that's a great theme song.
I mean, you could have picked it.
Yeah, why not?
It's against the rules.
There's no rule that says that it has to have lyrics.
Did it not go into the 90s though?
No, it went into the 90s, but the majority of its run was like 83 to like 92.
Oh, okay.
Like the majority of its run was by far was in the 80s. I think she's just saying that it didn't have any lyrics, so she's just going with that.
That's what I said. It didn't have any words.
Yeah, so
right.
what?
Self-made rule.
Yeah.
All right. Right on. What time for our number one?
No.
Honorable mentions.
No,
I'm sorry. Right. Missy, what is your honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions is Punky Brewster.
Nice.
And Cheers, Who's the Boss, and Charles in Charge.
Good one.
That's it.
I guess I'll move Reading Rainbow to an honorable mention then. Dallas and Dynasty.
Okay. Dave?
DuckTales, which is the one that I really wanted.
I thought you were going to go with DuckTales.
Yeah, I really wanted to put DuckTales, but I do prefer Transformers and my number 1 over it. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe has a great song. I'm going to go MacGyver also has a really cool, like very 80s sounding song.
They made that song with only a paperclip, a rubber band, and a sheet of paper. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
How did he do it?
And Galactica 80. It has the same exact theme song as Battlestar Galactica had in 1978, but it was actually in the 80s. So I'm going to put it out there because I love the Battlestar Galactica theme song.
Okay.
Loophole.
Your
I
story,
like that.
Yeah.
your story tracks. I like it.
Yep.
My honorable mentions are Golden Girls, Punky Brewster, 18, and I think that was it. Who's the Boss is a great show, but I wasn't the big. I mean, it's a good song.
The
It's not a
theme
great
song
Is
isn't memorable. Like,
Isn't your
it's not
girlfriend
memorable.
on that show?
First of all, it's my wife. Second of all, yeah, no, I love the show. If this was about 80s sitcoms, that would be on my fucking list for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's about the theme
Time
song
out.
itself. And I'm like,
Do the listeners know about your entanglement with Alyssa Milano?
Entanglement.
I mean, I don't like putting our business out there like that and shit. Yeah, but
Does she ever ask you if you're the boss?
She may or may not have liked and retweeted one of my tweets. So I mean,
They're Twitter official.
we're basically making out. And her husband, who is a fucking great guy, her husband used to do when the quarantine first started, he would do random acts of drawness. He's a children's animator, children's cartoonist, and he would have kids send him like weird things, like a dinosaur throwing a frisbee or shit like that, and then he would just draw randoms, and every day he would pick one kid, and he did 100 episodes, and episode 97 was my daughter. He picked my daughter's
cool.
pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he did, and it was a fish walking a dog, and he drew a fish
That's
walking
hilarious.
a dog, and he would draw all of them within 30 seconds. And he's super nice, super sweet. And it's apparently it's gonna be a book for kids. It's gonna be a kids book. All these drawings are gonna be duplicated into a book. And I tagged him in some shit because I was watching The Office, and he, Alyssa Milano's husband, is in Parks and Rec. He's the guy that offers Leslie the job in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
He's in a three episode arc, and I took a picture of him because I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Brady. I took a picture of it, tagged him, and he wrote back to me, and we had this very nice back and forth.
So you're on a
so
first
weird.
name basis with Alyssa Milano's husband.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
so
mean,
weird because
so
I was
wait,
like, your girl is
Are you
kind
in
of
a
my
throuple
girl.
with
So
Alyssa
it's kinda
Milano and her
weird.
husband? Is that what's happening?
I'm
I think
game.
it's more of like a commune thing. You know what I mean? Like wherever the
Oh,
love
like they're
leads you
swingers?
is where. I didn't say that. I said wherever the love leads you.
Oh, look, the 5 minutes are up. All right, so
Thank God.
Those are my honorable mentions.
Round 1. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on.
All right, Missy, what is your number one? As if I had to ask.
Yeah, I think we all know this.
Well, thank you for that warm reception. Not shocking. Probably nobody on the planet, maybe my mother, because she doesn't know what I'm talking about ever. Golden Girls is my number one.
And it's a great one.
Hey, Missy, can I tell you something?
Gasp in
No,
Spanish.
don't tell me anything yet until I'm done talking.
Okay.
The song, so the song is actually, and I just found out this out today, the song is way longer than what we get.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
I did the trivia at the Miami Improv. I did the trivia a couple weeks ago for Golden Girls. And for the listeners, this is more for the listeners. Whenever I do a trivia, I ask a question, and if it's about a specific show or movie, I play the theme song or the soundtrack. So if it's a Harry Potter, I'll ask a question like, "Oh, who killed Dobby?" Spoiler. And then I'll play 30 seconds of the soundtrack. So for Golden Girls, it was the Golden Girls theme song, and it was like 2.5, 3 minutes long. Yeah, some shit like that. There's a lot of words.
Well,
Like,
Yes.
there's a lot more words that come out in the show. Like you don't know because there's a lot of fucking words.
Well,
in that
I'm
theme
looking
song.
at the lyrics right now, and the theme
Like if
song
you
is
buy a
seven.
car, if you wanted a car, I'll buy you a Cadillac. Shit like that. That's a big thing.
So the theme song is 7 lines long, and but the actual full-fledged song is a lot more than that. I don't have time to count right now. But okay. So this song, since I haven't heard the whole song, I really won't make the argument that if it was just a regular song, it would have done well. I just know that literally I could just listen to the 7 lines of this song. I could be having the shittiest day, and it's like such an instant mood booster. It's such a great song. You can sing it to anyone, obviously, because friends that you want to sing to. From personal experimentation, super fun to sing when you're drunk. So much fun to sing when you're drunk. And I just think that it's a classic song. I have never heard of anyone saying I don't like the Golden Girls, because it's just across the board beloved. You can't really say anything negative about the show. And I know I'm veering into the actual show, but it's true, because when Neri was prepping for the trivia, I was watching on my end a couple of episodes too, and like all the jokes still land, they still hold up.
Yeah.
All the subject matters are still relevant, and just the entire concept of that show was genius. And I'm very, very I'm very, very I'm gonna hold my grudge against reboots. I'm gonna hold it on this one because I know that Tracy Lee Ross is doing the reboot of this.
But is it like a real reboot, or is it one of those like Zoom?
Wait.
I think it's a Zoom like.
reboot?
No, I think it's a Zoom table read. I don't think it's a real reboot.
Yeah, I don't think it's like an actual reboot.
I didn't even know that much. I said that shit as a fucking joke. I said that as a joke because I know you hate fucking reboots.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm not gonna climb on that soapbox right now because we're having a good time. But I will say that I could talk about this show, this specific song, forever and ever and ever, and it just makes me so happy. Like they're just yes.
No, finish it. I'm just raising my hand to be next.
Oh,
she's done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so
Can I finish? Okay,
I'm finished.
So it's not an actual reboot. It's a charity Zoom table read of the pilot episode with Tracy Ellis Ross, Sanaa Lathan, Alfred Woodard, and Regina King.
Okay, so then they can have literally all my money because there's nothing negative to say about it.
Women are amazing. Also,
no, not just that, but the cause itself.
You're right.
I take my money. What? Go ahead.
No, I had a really good joke, but then you brought in the cause, and now it's not.
No, but pretend they didn't. Pretend they didn't.
I had a really good joke because when she mentioned the entire cast, I was like, oh, so it's more like Golden Brown Girls. But then you brought in the cause and all this. I'm like, no, all right.
Well,
it's
supporting the organization Color for Change. So
also, it's not the cause that makes that joke awful, but that's a different.
That joke is hilarious. That joke is hilarious.
I'm
Every
laughing.
name that she mentioned, I was like, one of these things. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm down for it. I love that entire cast. It sounds great. I did not know that was a thing. When I said they should reboot the show, I was completely being facetious. I thought I was just busting balls on Missy because I know you hate reboots. I didn't know this was even this table read. I didn't even know there was a thing. So, all right. Golden Girls.
That's what happens when you read the headline and you don't open the article. You just get the wrong information.
I didn't even know that much. Again, I didn't even read the headline. I just guessed at some random shit. Stephanie, what is your number one?
So my number one is is another animated pick. For me, there's like a handful of super recognizable animated shows and theme songs from the 80s, and this is one of them, and it's DuckTales. Woohoo. it's one of those things that like you can wake me up in the middle of the night in my sleep and I can I'll sing it right there.
We need proof.
Challenge accepted.
I'm not
We're
doing
gonna
it.
just we're just gonna start randomly calling her at 3:00 in the morning with the fucking song.
Steph sings.
Are you in
DuckTales.
jail? No. Sing DuckTales.
Sing
Go,
DuckTales, bitch. I've watched every episode of that original show. To be very honest, I really like the reboot. Also, the theme song is not as great. It's the same exact song, it's just done a little differently. But I love DuckTales. I love Webby. I love Scrooge as a whole. I think he's super funny. And I like when they use him in other stuff also. And I love DuckTales. So that's my one.
Fantastic
Good choice.
song. It's a
Yeah.
phenomenal song.
Yeah.
And
It's so
if I was gonna
catchy.
go, it's fucking great. And if I was gonna go with any animated shows on my list, that would probably be the first one, the first animated list. The first animated to go on my list would be that one.
Who doesn't know that song?
Communist.
Yeah.
Good point.
Maria.
All right, there you go.
We saw someone at Disney this weekend that reminded us so much of your mom.
Was
Was
she
she
looking for
under
other
the
people's Wi-Fi?
No.
under the impression that your Wi-Fi was different than her Wi-Fi?
We were in line for Spaceship Earth, and as you know, Spaceship Earth is a constantly
It was a
moving line.
carousel.
So they have markers saying please wait here, right?
Like social
every,
distance
yeah,
markers?
every like 6 feet or so. This woman who was in front of us stopped at every single one, even though there was plenty of space before her. So she would get up
And like her
walk
family,
and wait,
she was with a group
and
of people.
walk
She
and
wasn't
wait.
alone.
It was amazing.
She had like 4 people that she was with, and they kept going, and she would just like stop at every single one.
Every now and then her
I'm gonna go.
husband would turn around and shout at her, and she would not give a fuck.
The cast
Unrelated.
members, the
I
Disney
bet you,
cast
I'll tell you
members.
this. So I'll tell you this: if you dropped a box of toothpicks, I bet you should be able to fucking count real quick how many are left in the box. Say that right now. That seems very fucking kind of Rain Man behavior. Where you're like, nope, it's a stop. I gotta fucking stop right here. Like what? Okay, weird.
Well,
Could be.
Dave did when we were laughing a little bit to ourselves, and Dave was like, "Oh, maybe she's like, has like an issue or whatever." And I was like, "You're probably right." And I feel like an asshole now. Thanks, but.
Oh, I thought that's what it was, and I still said the joke. And nobody on the panel laughed, and I still think it's funny, and I still doubled down on it.
I
don't give a
laughed.
fuck.
I laughed.
I'm good with it.
I didn't.
All right. Doug, somebody should remake Missy. All right. So, Dave, what is your number one? As if I don't know, what is your number one?
So my number one is I said that 18 was the first one that came to mind, but this one I think is whether we're talking about animated, live action. To me, it doesn't really matter. I think that this is the best written and best constructed. Like the actual song itself is amazing. And that's not even going into how much I absolutely love the TV show, and it's Thundercats.
Oh man, I was 0
Really?
for 2 on this mountain for you, bro. I thought
Where
it was
did you think
Teenage
he
Mutant
was-
Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
I thought it was gonna be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, but
I was like,
the majority of its run was in the 90s.
false. Also, I don't know if you want to redo your list now, but no.
No, to be honest, I wouldn't have put Ninja Turtles this high on my list. I really
I don't
do
even
think
know you
that,
anymore. I feel as since quarantine, I don't even know who you are anymore. Like you're going somewhere I can't follow.
yeah, man. The Thundercats theme song it's so well constructed. Like there's, it's written like a straight ahead rock and roll song, and there's electric guitars, like distorted electric guitars. There's synthesizers. There's like a nice horn section, which is like predates the Transformers stuff. I don't know if that was an influence when they were writing Transformers. And whether or not you're listening to the version with the lyrics, which plays over the opening credits, or the instrumental version, which is over the closing credits, like, you sit there and you rock out. I mean, I love the words, because it kind of like, it lays it all right out there for you. If you've never seen an episode of Thundercats before, all you need to do is listen to the Thundercats theme song and you're ready to go. You can watch any episode after that. But to me, like, I listen to the Thundercats theme song and the first thing I want to do is watch the TV show. But the very next thing I want to do is pick up my guitar and play along with it. Like, that's how much, to me, that song rocks. And there's very few songs, like TV show theme songs, that motivate me that way, that move me that way. If it weren't so damn short, like most TV theme songs tend to be, like, I could listen to this thing on loop. You know, the fact of the matter is that after about 2 or 3 times of listening to anything, you're like, okay, that's fucking enough. But yeah, man, to me, this song is the best. Punto, period, done. There is no better 80s theme show, TV TV show theme song. I don't know why I keep running over that. Sorry. Then
lay off the sauce, man.
Yeah, there's this is Ice-T in here, believe it or not.
To your credit, Dave, you're right. The original syndication was from 87 to 90, but then it got picked up and it went through 90 to 96. So you're right on that. For some reason, just looked at 87 through 90, and I'm like, oh. That's
I knew I was right, but I also didn't want to be the type of guy to fight you on that on air.
You love being that type of guy.
You mean the guy you were at the beginning of the episode? Yeah, no,
I clearly said I was not.
But I caught myself on that one. Yeah, I was like, no. But you're right. The original run was from 87 and 90. That was in syndication, and then it got picked up, and then that's why from 90 to 96 it was on CBS.
I'll be honest. If the majority of Ninja Turtles run had been in the 80s, I would have subbed out Transformers for it. Because
I think it's a much better song than the Transformers song.
Yeah.
That song is amazing, but it doesn't count for the 80s, so it's neither here nor there. With that said, I love the Thundercats theme song. I think you're right on that. I don't think you're right in that it's the best song, but this is a opinions thing.
Yeah.
But it is a great song. I'm with you on that. It's a great song. All right, my number one is a song that I think is by far punto y clara the best theme song of the 80s, whether it's animated, a sitcom, or a dramatic show, and it's Charles in Charge, and it is my number. It was my number one with a bullet. This was my number one, whether it was going to be, because the original, to the listener, the original topic was theme songs from 1980 on, like post 1980, because the previous episode that we did, I think, was episode 87. I think it was February of 2018. We did an episode where it was TV theme songs pre 1980.
Yeah.
So this is a follow up to that, and it was just going to be 1980 and then some.
There's so many choices.
We decided, let's break it up into 80s and 90s. Not really, because it's like the Bono was talking about. Oh, that's over 30 years of choices. I go, no, because they don't really do theme songs anymore. So it's really just kind of like 80s and 90s and a little bit of 2000 sprinkled in. But when we were still in that mindset of doing like all 80s, all 90s, all 2000s, Charles in Charge was still going to be my number one. Like it was unmovable. It's to me, this is how much I love the song. I have since the current administration has been in office, since he started running for president, Scott Baio has fucking really, really turned me off by his politics. Why?
What did he do?
He, So he's a tremendo. I
Didn't.
don't like that guy. Tremendo. I don't like that guy. Let me tell you, it's a lot more than just charging me for fucking to meet him. At this point, he couldn't pay me enough to fucking meet him. That's how strongly I feel. But the theme song is to no fault of that. So
Right.
that's how great. It's not like one of these things where it's like Cosby. Ooh, we can't have the Cosby Show in there because he's a fucking dirtbag and he's an animal. But
Also, his facial expressions during the theme song, it hits different now.
Yes, yes, it does.
yeah, well, it used to be about pudding, but now it's not. Yes, Charles in Charge. I know every word of that song. If you wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you play that song, I can tell you the fucking following lyrics to that song. I fucking love that song, and I
Good
introduced
song.
the show. I introduced the show to Vanessa. Vanessa had never even heard of the show, like
That's
8 years
shocking.
ago. I introduced her to the show, and she was like, I don't know. And then we fucking both fell in love with it. Like I fell in love with it, and she fell in love with it. So it's great, man. So Charles
Where
in
does
Charge
it
is my number
stream?
one.
Probably
What?
Hulu. Hulu streams all those old shows.
They don't
I
stream
actually
Night
watched
Court.
it. I actually watched. I had the DVDs of Charles in Charge. This is like 10 years ago, before streaming was what it is now. We watched them via DVD.
It
Well,
streams on it streams on
Charles
the
and-
NBC app. If
Oh.
for anyone that cares.
Well, Charles in Charge was my number 3. I agree with everything Neri says, and he is in charge of our days and our nights, and our wrongs and our rights, and it's just it is what it is.
You know what was a common theme? I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like a lot of these sequences have the kitchen door that swings back and
Oh
forth.
yeah,
Yeah,
Was that like an
that was a
80s
thing.
thing or just a TV thing?
I don't know if
that
that
was
was a white
a TV
people
thing
thing.
because I probably,
Our house
but I
was
didn't.
I lived in a duplex in the 80s. We can't have a swinging door in a duplex.
Yeah,
That don't
I
work
had
that
never
way.
seen. I thought that was just like a TV house thing. The other thing that was like a big thing in like the family sitcom in the 80s and 90s was like the 2 sets of staircases, like the one in the front of the house and then the one that came out through the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I had never.
You didn't
yeah.
have that?
That's an up north
My
thing.
1-bedroom apartment when I was 8 years old?
I had never seen that until I went to like I think I was at a friend of a friend's house in like Jersey or something like that, and that's the first time I had seen that.
Yeah,
And I'm like, this is definitely like northern white people shit.
Yeah, it's white people shit, man. I feel you. It's
Well,
definitely
then
not ranch homes. It's definitely
No.
not ranch style homes. So
Which is what we all grew up in. So
right. But I love, I legit love Charles in Charge. The show, the fucking, I mean, I'm telling you, I was a big fan of Scott Baio. I even watched Scott Baio's 46 and single, and then Scott Baio's 47 and pregnant. I own Scott Baio's 47 and pregnant, the VH1 show, the reality show with Scott Baio. I own that shit on fucking iTunes.
all of his tracks.
Yeah.
I don't think you can make fun of me anymore for facing the Giants. I think that you just canceled that out.
I love that
I'm
facing the
sorry.
Giants keeps coming
I'm
up.
sorry.
No,
I'm
you wanna know
sorry.
why? Because
You-
at the time that Neri purchased it, it was not an embarrassing purchase.
Oh, I think it might have been an embarrassing purchase back then. However, I do know for a fact that you couldn't get the only part that I do like of the show on YouTube for free. So that's the fucking difference.
I
the
love
fucking
that
difference.
Facing the Giants has come up in 3 episodes in a row now.
Set him up and he hits it out of the park.
All right, so we have a couple of duplicates here. We have Charles in
I think
Charge.
Charles in Charge and Perfect Strangers, I think, right?
Charles, Perfect Strangers, and Growing Pains.
Okay. So
Growing Pains.
I'm gonna lobby for DuckTales, guys.
I think there should
I'm
be
gonna
an
lobby for
animated-
Golden Girls.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Golden Girls. I'm gonna back Golden Girls because that's a pretty fucking iconic theme song. No matter like
DuckTales is
whether you're a kid or not, you know that fucking song. I mean,
I didn't know it because I saw my first episode of Golden Girls an hour ago. So
I saw my first episode of Golden Girls 2 weeks ago, and But I still
And
knew
it
the
was
fucking
funny.
theme
I'm
song.
probably
But
gonna
I
keep
still
on.
know the theme song. You
I
don't know
had
the
heard
theme
the
song to
theme
Golden
song.
Girls?
You want to know when I first heard the theme song from Golden Girls was on the OC 10 years ago because it was like a
Oh,
plot line
God.
on the OC.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't
I
know.
didn't hate
what do
you
you guys
until
want
10
to do?
seconds ago.
Well, we're
What do you
split.
guys want to do?
Missy, I'm doing my part in trying to get her to watch it. All right, I put it
It's
on for
so
her while we
good.
were watching dinner. Even the pilot
Watching
episode
dinner?
is,
We
is
were just
hilarious.
watching our dinner.
You know what I mean.
You know
It's a
what's a fun
legitimately
little...
funny show.
You know what's fun about when they air it on TV Land and they do like a whole block of time of Golden Girls? You know what they call it? They call it Cheesecake and Chill. And I want that to
They're
be
gonna
the
get that. They're gonna get that. They're gonna get that joke in a few episodes. They gotta wait a little.
They eat cheesecake in the pilot.
Yeah,
No.
but they don't know it's a thing yet. They don't know it's a thing yet.
I haven't seen Golden Girls
Well,
in
it made
many
me
years.
happy. Me happy, and I guess
Yeah.
that's all that counts.
I thought they were gonna call that block the golden hour.
Yeah, that's what
That
I would
makes
have
more
gone with. Is
sense.
Golden
Yeah.
Hour. Golden Hour is the way to go.
Cheesecake and Chill is awesome, though.
Golden
all
Hour
right,
is
so-
better.
Everyone hates me.
I'm again going to second Steph's suggestion of DuckTales. Just
All right.
I
Anybody
think-
want to flip a coin? Let's flip a coin because we're gonna be immovable. Is there an app? Does somebody have an app that they can
A coin
flip
flipping
coin?
app? Does this
Yeah, there's a
exist?
coin flip. Yeah, I bet you if you go to a website, you know what? Let me look it up now. Coin flipping website.
Right here,
Uh,
simulator. Random. Is that you could find it on random.org.
Okay.
Yep,
It's a Russian
random.org.
website.
All right, so we're gonna say heads is Golden Girls and tails is
DuckTales.
whatever that other one is. Two flips? No, one flip. You want to do 2 or 3? No, right?
No, one is fine.
No, just one flip.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. They this is so complicated. They let you pick what type of coin you want to flip.
Just
Well,
flip
I
the
have the
coin.
penny. I have the penny up, so I can do it if you want me to.
No, I just think I'm loving this list. I'm like, oh, this is really fucking good. I'm gonna choose the John Adams. John Adams.
I know him.
I flipped one and it was tails. So there you
Oh.
go.
DuckTales. There
Wait,
we go.
how do I know that? How do I know that's
You
Because
Yeah,
Ed
there
has
you
his
go.
face on it.
Yeah, if it's not the
Right.
face.
Oh man, his face is ugly as fuck too. Have you seen
Yes,
his face?
that's why they make fun of him in Hamilton.
Well, that's not why. It's other reasons. I've
Well,
read
yes,
up
but
on him.
part of it is that he's ugly.
You fat mother. All right,
Good boy,
so
John Adams.
it is DuckTales.
Woohoo.
All right.
Did anyone get a
So-
perfect mountain?
I don't think
No.
so.
The final mountain is Charles in Charge, Perfect Strangers, Growing Pains, and DuckTales. I would have had 3 out of. I got 2 out of 4. So I mean, it is what it is. Dave, did you get anything on this list? Perfect Mountain, Perfect Strangers.
Perfect strangers. Yeah.
That's right. All right, so that's our final mountain. We're at 1 hour and 26 minutes. Fucking A, guys. Fucking A.
Way to
Go
go, team.
us. Go us. Thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you guys check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network, including the What's Up Bro podcast, the Better Let Me Tell You, Chow Like at Best with Mike Valdez. So make sure you go to geekbro.net. There is a lot of podcasting to be had. Thank you for that, and that's how lists are made.